I was gonna say, yeah, fuck those things, those fucking ass. Oh no! Oh no! Alright, who?
Right hand.
Okay, and now.
And move
press. Yeah, you have to. There we go.
White Mage just has way more health than Contain here.
Yeah.
It's kind of like basically when
everybody got over 100 health, and the only one, like I think the fighter was at like 160 or something, and Fate was the only one who didn't have 100. I was like, come on, get more health! Back when I was leveling back up.
Not just...
No, not just now, sorry. I meant the max health when I was doing the leveling up. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just want you to have more health. Like, he's just under 200.
These ones, right?
Yeah. And because this was so erratic and so random, like, you could play 5 different games where you get everyone to level 20, and they're always going to have different stats. It's just random, right? It's just a roll. And I did do tests on it, and it is sometimes saved to the fight beforehand where you're already going to get the stats. So you have to, like, change
okay.
things. So, like, for instance, if you saved,
Damn.
went up and down, you fought a wolf and leveled up. If you saved, if you reloaded that, then went up and down, and you fought that wolf again, you'll get the same level up. So what you have to do is just move in a different direction, so it just changes the code. But by Final Fantasy II, it was great, because by Final Fantasy II, they finally
I can't remember.
they added
Wizards.
the same system as like Quest 64, which is a progression system. So the more you got hit, the more your health went up. The more your defense went up, the more you attacked, the more your weapon stuff went up, like, it was all based on that, like, you keep growing it, like, through a bar, which I actually like that. Quest 64 is a very, disputed game, but I enjoy it. Yeah, fuck this is good.
Maybe we should do Quest 64 sometime.
Oh, I forgot.
I like it, just fun boring, but I find it really good, fun, and just big and open, and it's got great, just nice, chill music. Simple gameplay.
I think I have it, so...
Yeah. It's one of my favorite games. I rented it a bunch from that fucking rental place in town that Kyle from my class, his mom was the one who opened that shop, and they were all their actual games they were renting out.
Yeah.
So that's where Ryan rented Gemfire from it for the first time, and then I got to see it and play it, and then I went to Iceman Games.
Yeah, like you were talking in the last session when we started Gemfire.
Yeah. It's all like, that's all tied to the same thing. So.
Another round?
Since I bet any of this, future me, you could decide what's worth keeping in and what's not of that. I don't think... You didn't say anything doxing anyway, so...
No.
If there was something that I was like, I would just bleep it or whatever. Not a big deal.
That store was open for like 2 years, and it was closed long before we graduated high school.
So you wouldn't be able to Google Maps it or anything.
There was no Google Maps at the time. Like Steven Seagal in the 70s in Japan, it's really hard to prove or show any actual facts. Did he run a sweet Aikido dojo in Japan? Did he fight the Yakuza? Maybe. I mean, maybe. I doubt it, but, he says so.
I also know that you don't really like Steven Seagal that much.
Steven Seagal is a loser.
He is the final option, though.
He is a bad man. He's, actually, as a human being, bad. He's also crazy and delusional. He hurts the stunt people. Like, when you're just supposed to, flip them through and it's supposed to look like it. He straight up smashed people's faces into glass. He's killed someone on set. He's really not a good guy. And he's got, sexual harassment allegations and stuff like that. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He loves hanging out with Putin and other European despots. He's a really cool guy. I don't know why no one would like Steven Seagal. He's a cool dude. Plus, he's really good at acting. Really good.
All I had to do was look at you for 2 seconds while you said, he's really good at acting to know that you...
Well, you can just watch one of his movies and you know he's really good at acting.
I wish you guys could see the look on his face when he said that. Really good at acting.
Yeah.
Really good.
Also, one of the best parts of Steven Seagal is watching him run.
I love how, when you get into a battle, it spoils what happens when you put your rod on the slab.
Yeah, just because the glitch thing, whatever, but yeah. It's a few things like that.
Fucking stun!
Games able to find secret things. Yeah, The worst part is the top two guys keep getting it. If all four of them get it,
All right.
just wait.
Put my rod in the slab.
The
There we go.
shatters, revealing staircase.
How are we doing on timing?
We're good. I'm like I was saying to Bill earlier, I'm not going to stop for parts. Yeah, but at 30 minutes, it'll be somebody else's turn, so I'll tell you when.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I'm editing these videos, so I'm not like worried about time.
Yeah, it's something that I always hated as a kid and would spend so much time fixing. And now that I'm a grown-ass man and I know that it didn't work ever, so I never need to care about it, I don't care if I get dark. One of those nice things is that they can cast dark on you, and then you start missing more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out dark never worked in this
probably
game. I never knew that, so I would always spend turns taking away my dark so I could hit them easier. Turns out it wasn't affecting anything. When you give them dark, it doesn't do anything.
Turns out in this version of the game, half the shit doesn't even work.
Well, a whole bunch of it. And like, I thought it was funny that as a kid, we chose not to get the insta-kill moves a lot of the time because they didn't really work very often.
Mm-hmm.
And why fucking spend
Sphinx!
Why spend 3 turns trying to hit it with an insta-kill move when I could just spend a turn and kill it with a fire attack?
Yeah.
We're always strong enough that it doesn't matter, so the instant death moves suck. And it turns out when I got older, looking up, a bunch of them don't work either. That's why we didn't like them properly. Some of them do. Obviously, XXX works because the stupid eyeball uses it all the time.
Yeah.
But don't
Rub sometimes works.
What?
Rub?
Yeah, rub works, of course. We see Astos use.
Of course, XXX and rub both work.
Yeah.
But there's,
Is there another move called tugs?
I never realized that. Never caught that.
Listen, this game is full of that kind of stuff. We just smashed our rod in a slab, and the slab lost. So,
bust that plate, just slapping it on there.
pretty much. Another Sphinx.
It's an automatic fight because you're going for the chest, right?
Oh, okay. It's like the wizards or whatever.
Just actually a bunch of these places in here is usually an earth monster, but fighting the sphinxes are cool.
Well, I fought the earth elemental like so many times in here because I went and got all the treasures that I could get.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, is that like in front of certain ones there's just one, or sometimes when you just enter the room there's just one there.
There we go.
Funny.
Oh, I also need to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would also suggest you using their like low-level heal magic first too.
We also have 99.
Yeah. But if that's not the point of medium to rebuy those. Wow, he's a fun beast already, eh?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really don't need to go any higher level.
Yeah.
We're good. Like, I've gotten to the rat tail with just one red mage at level 16 many times, so...
I literally,
Disgusting monster.
I literally sat down here, played this on the CRT while I was watching all the Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah.
And when I wasn't done the Lord of the Rings stuff when I finally got to this point, I was like, I've gotten back to where the footage cut off. What do I do now? And then I was like, oh, well, that's when I was like, maybe I'll play Donkey Kong Country on the GBA just to see what the GBA version is like. And that's when I realized, oh, we didn't put any, it's not on here. So I went and I got GBA games and I put them on the thing.
Oh, you got Donkey Kong Land?
No, Donkey Kong Country for the GBA. They ported the 3 country games to GBA.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah. It was
like Donkey Kong Country, but it's not. But it's like a mini version.
Because Microsoft didn't own a handheld. They were allowed to make games for Nintendo on handheld. That's why we had the 2 Banjo games on handheld and the Conquer game one as well. So a lot of Rare's franchises from that era were on handheld. Like Game Boy was the place to be for if you wanted to play Banjo and Conquer. Mm-hmm. And they were allowed to do Donkey Kong because there was no competition for Microsoft. So it's like, yeah, you guys can do the Donkey Kong games if it's on Game Boy. They didn't care. It makes me think that the relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo goes deeper than it has just within the last few years.
Yeah.
Like, even though they owned Rare, they still allowed them to, like, do projects that had nothing to do with Microsoft.
But at the time, they were also not a competitor, right?
Yeah.
The Xbox.
Only in the console space because of the Xbox and the 360.
Yeah, the Xbox 360 came out a bit afterwards, right?
Yeah, well, because they acquired them when like after Star Fox Adventures, which was 2002, 2003. It was like near the end of the GameCube.
And that's DS already, right?
Star Fox Adventures, no, is a GameCube game. It's the only GameCube game Rare made.
I know. Star Fox Adventures, but I just mean like that's around the time of DS, though, right?
No, GBA.
GBA was still in?
GBA still had games.
Right,
DS didn't come out until 06.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just thought that the DS came out right then, like the flip one.
I think the original DS came out it's 2004, 2006, one of them. But they were still like tons of GBA was still making tons of money, so they kept making games for it.
Yeah.
Because the DS and the 3DS, when they first came out, they weren't popular. It took a while for them to get popular. The DS was faster than the 3DS was, but the 3DS also came out at $300 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
So who was going to buy that?
I was also going to say though that we were talking.
That's got you stuck.
It was a long string.
Sorry.
No worries.
Also, in 5 minutes, it'll be somebody else's turn.
Okay, cool.
It's that Conqueror was on Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
And so was a lot of that stuff. So that's why I was like, oh, well, I don't think Microsoft was even doing a console at that time, right?
Yeah, the Xbox came out in 2001, I want to say. The same time Halo came out, because Halo was going to be a launch game for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. And Microsoft didn't purchase them right away.
The Xbox was out when I was in high school. I was going over Justin Kelly's house. Justin's house always had the Xbox. I remember playing this really cool game called Wrath Unleashed. I think I bought it on PS2 or GameCube, whatever, years later, so I could play it again. I just never did. But I loved that game because I had this demo of it. Wrath Unleashed was like this cool tactics, Demon Angels kind of game. I remember the Xbox being fun because the Xbox, I would just go buy like an Xbox magazine to get a new demo disc and just go over to Justin's house and I would be like, yo man, we're popping on this new demo disc, dude. We gotta find out the new games so we can figure out what we're gonna buy.
Okay, so Star Fox Adventures, the only GameCube game Rare did, came out September 23rd, 2002. The next day, Microsoft purchased them. The next day.
Gotcha.
So, I remember because Dinosaur Planet was supposed to be an N64 game, and then it became Star Fox, and they had to delay it, and so... I don't know.
Some stuff switching around in it. Assets.
So it makes sense, looking at stuff, because the Xbox had only been out for a year, I think, at that point. I think they just saw, like, oh, Rare made all these great games for Nintendo. If they're not going to buy them, we might as well.
Yeah. It's a smart move, but, you know, I think that Rare... When was it that they did the nuts and bolts?
Nuts and bolts? It was on the 360.
That's that's way after when Microsoft had them fully, right? So you're saying 2 days late, the next day, after they made Star Fox Adventures.
They didn't make it right away, but
well, after they made they bought them right after they made Star Fox Adventures. I'm saying that's the next day, so obviously it would be sometime later. But that's when I really remember hearing that Microsoft owned Rare, because before that I don't think they were even doing anything with it, even owning it. It wasn't until Nuts and Bolts that I was like, what did they do to my boy?
Well, they released Grabbed by the Ghoulies on the Xbox, which is actually a really good game, but it didn't sell well. And then they did Conquer Live Reloaded on the Xbox, which was the remake that was censored, which was weird. I can't remember what else. They didn't do much in the original Xbox. It wasn't until the 360, because they did Viva Pinata, that took off.
Yeah.
Nuts and Bolts was 2008, which...
one of the Viva Pinata games, they were actually pretty good. I tried to play another one later.
I saw advertisements for it all the time because I was still watching Foxbox and shit back then, but I was like, I didn't care.
I was playing with... He had the game, so I would just play it, and he's like, no, it may look childish, but it's actually really fun. Would you do the quest? Dude, I remember really enjoying it. And then I remember years later that I had a friend who had it, and they're like, I can't really figure this game out. So I was like, I used to play one of these. I'm not sure if it was this one. I popped it in, and it was abysmal. I was like, I don't know if this is the same game, or if this is a sequel and they took out and changed the game up, or if I was just too young and dumb and just was like, games are good! But that game was not good. So the one Viva Pinata game I remember playing, I enjoyed it when I was younger. A game I played later on was abysmal. So
from the general consensus I hear is that it's they're all right games, is what I hear from people. But it's like that was still considered the low point for Rare because they were only making Viva Pinata and Connect games for a while.
If I were to really think about it, I would say that I would rather Star Fox Adventure be not Star Fox. Like, Dinosaur Planet?
It should have been Dinosaur Planet.
No. I don't think it should be Dinosaur Planet. If they were going to use it title, they should have done it with Metroid.